So, what do motorcycles mean to you?
Well, it's a way of life to me. Yeah, it's a big part of my life. Always have been since I was a kid. So, my father rode and it inspired me to ride, and I inspired my boys to ride. So, it's just been a way of life.
You talked about your father getting you into motorcycles. When did he get you into it, and how did it expand from there?
Well, it's funny because he owned bikes up until I was like 14. And of course, he started me and my brother on dirt bikes, and we rode those up until like 14. And actually, at 14, I started sneaking riding his bike, which was much bigger, and he never thought that I was even capable of riding it.
What impact did motorcycles have on you at that time? You know, like when you were younger. You said you got into them at 16. Like,
Yeah, the street bikes, but I was riding the dirt bikes from the time I could walk, really. He had me on one, kind of like I did the boys. And the older I got, the bigger bikes he brought me, and that pretty much inspired me up and that I wanted a bike before I wanted a car. You know, that was the passion I had for it. When I turned 16, I went and got my bike license. And the following week, my dad brought me my first motorcycle.
okay, cool.
I think I got it in here too. This is me at 16 and my first motorcycle. It's a Yamaha 650 Special. You see me on the first picture, my brother Jarvis, and then one of my little cousins and another one of my cousins. But that was my first bike, which was, you see, your auntie and my brother. That was 500 Interceptor that I brought when I first got married. This was my third bike that I purchased brand new my senior year of high school.
Gosh, how long you had these pictures? This is history right here, huh?
Probably close to 40 years, huh?
Wow.
This was my first dream bike that I got after I come back from the Saudi Arabia war. It was a 1984 FJ 1100. Probably one of the smoothest all-around bikes I ever ridden.
Oh my gosh. Would you ever get that bike again?
Yeah, I've been searching for it for years to find another one complete, but they were so rare. But yes, I'd buy it in a moment if I could find one. That was my first bike week in Daytona in 1989. All of these pictures are from 89. That was one of my best friends in the military that was also a bike lover. This one, bottom one here.
Yeah.
If you can see, this is the first custom bike that I tore down to the bare frame, and you can see it was just mill finish aluminum, and I hand polished it over the winter. I was stationed up in Newport News, Virginia, and of course I took the living room and built this bike. Your auntie wasn't very happy about that, but this was the finished product after I put it back together. That was my very first custom. And the property looked a whole lot different back then, didn't it?
I'm saying y'all did.
This initial shot.
Wait,
When
this
there
was
was
this was before.
Yeah, this here. All those are taken out here. It's had many different looks over the years.
Wow. What made y'all want to build something like this? Because everybody else in the family kind of just did get a house. That's it. But y'all got
I was being from the country. I was used to acreage. I didn't like people being closed in on people, and everybody tried to persuade us to go to gated communities. But I was already had my boys into the ATVs, and I felt like this setting fitted us better.
So that makes sense. Gave more free roam behind doing what you exactly. Yeah. Okay.
You couldn't have loud noise or ATVs in the gated communities, and some don't allow motorcycles, and that was definitely a negative for me not to be able to ride.
How did this passion end up bringing it into the family you have now? So how did you bring?
Well, as my wife say, had a bike when we got married, and 2 years later we had our first kid. I sold my bike to have extra money for the birth and all, and I went a year without a bike, and as she said, I took the income tax the following year and brought another motorcycle, which didn't go over well with her. Your least favorite?
My least favorite memory is when we were in the military in Virginia, and he had been looking at this bike, and I knew it. Your uncle goes and get the income tax money come in. He never showed up home from work. Next thing I know, he done bought a motorcycle with the income tax money. And that's something I'll never forget.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she didn't speak to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But that's when I started flipping bikes. I was like, I gotta figure a way to have bikes, because that was my passion, without messing with the house money. So that's when I start buying used bikes and old bikes and building them and flipping them.
Okay, that's
so
smart.
My habit then paid for itself.
Yeah.
And most of the time I was able to even throw her a few $100s, from the sale of it. So from then on, she was okay with it.
Yeah. I was good with it then.
Yeah, okay, cool. Hey, at least you got something out of it too, right?
Yeah. Yes. Had some times.
Adventurous
times. Yes, with them bikes. Yeah. Rode in the cold. Rain. Whatever. But we have had some nice times though with the bikes and the dirt bikes.
As you can see, this is your cousin David and Brandon. I started them early on dirt bikes.
David, what was your experience like with motorcycles growing up? How did David your dad bring all this into you?
Well, since I can remember, since we knew how to ride bicycles, we were riding motorcycles. Dirt bikes, should I say, first. My first dirt bike at like I said, as soon as I could ride a bike, it was like a 125. I couldn't even touch the pedals or anything. So whenever I had to stop, I would have to call my dad over and, he'll come get me off of the bike.
It was an escape for sure. You always had something to look forward to when you came home. It taught you a little bit about taking care of things. It brought friendships that I still have to this day just because you rode something that had a motor. It was on two wheels, you know what I mean? Sometimes four wheels, but it was something that wasn't on the road that you could ride off road. It just made friendships. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many people that you would have never talked to would, walk up to you because you have a motorcycle or a dirt bike or enduro or a four wheeler or whatever, you know. So yeah, it had a big impact. I mean, it taught you how to be open with people also, because you got people that you really don't want to talk to come up to you and ask you questions. So you can be, standoffish, or you can just talk to them. So
It was since then that we were riding. He would always have project bikes or building bikes and sell them. That's what he's done since I can remember. So it's always been in our life, always.
that was definitely another thing that me and my brother could share together is we had sports and stuff like that, but we also had, motorcycles. So we spent even more time together and understood each other more. So, I mean, I think it's important to have different. I mean, might not be motorcycles, but it's important to have something that connects you with your family.
You plan on putting your kids on?
Definitely.
Yeah, you slowly. They haven't been riding since as long as we have. Like we started them off a little late.
Hey, whichever way they want. This one, if you even start something with two wheels or with a motor, he want to get on it and ride. So, and his sister's the same.
Even when they come over here, again, my dad got bikes everywhere. So, he still ride, we still ride. So they're gonna ride too, I'm sure.
So it's in the blood.
It's just in our blood.
What does seeing black bikers mean to you? So I'm guessing it was probably like different from when you were younger compared to like now. So what did it mean to you to see, black people ride ride bikes and stuff like that?
Well, it showed me that actually, believe it or not, that we could have fun and enjoy ourselves and do things just like you see, even though in that time they only really advertised the white man and his Harley, but there was actually just as many, black bikers out there that was doing the same thing, going on trips and doing community functions for helping kids and raising money for different causes. I learned that we was doing the same thing, which was important to me as a young black man, and it truly helped me grow and have a desire to want to do more for the community, just like the Buffalo Soldiers, which is probably the biggest black organization out there, how they do things and help needed children and all that. It's truly, and most of all now, seeing more black females riding is totally awesome, because for a long period of time they weren't allowed to venture into that part of the world. But now I see as many female bikers almost as I do men's.
What has your experience with motorcycles taught you? Like, looking from when you first got into them to where you are today, what would you say you've learned from being with motorcycles pretty much all your life?
Well, I would say from being teaching patience, motorcycles, it's not something that most people can jump on and just learn to ride. It takes time and patience. But also, as I stated, by having the passion to always own one taught me entrepreneurship. You know, I got into flipping motorcycles and cars and things like that, and it always gave me that extra income, you know, to buy, you know, and sell the bikes that I wanted. So it taught me that, and it also taught me family time, you know, because like myself, my boys, you know, had a passion too, and I was trying to figure out a way to, when they got into the teens and was driving, to still have that connection and quality time with them, and motorcycles made that possible.